Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today it's super exciting. I am taking one of our PGA professionals, Danny Malcolm, through a fine-tune putter fitting. We kind of played around with it a little bit the other day. He found it was really interesting, and I said the actual fitting system itself is just incredible. And so I said we're going to go through this. You've never had a proper full putter fitting before?
Never, Michael. Not even when I played professionally. Never ever had a putter fitting.
So it's one of the big things being with this fine-tune putter fitting, it really is a game changer when it comes to this, because even in the past, I've had this fitting center for 7 years. We've been struggling to find a really good putter fitting system, and normally it's just length, line, loft, and kind of get people into what they like to a certain extent. Change the grip a little bit, but this goes really deep. It gets uses a lot of data, uses their own app and their algorithm to kind of figure out what the best putter is for them and to help change their natural tendencies. And when I talk about tendencies, I mean more so about how you set up, what you do with your aiming, potentially face rotation. There's things like head type, hosel, length, and even color, which can influence those different tendencies as well. So it's really interesting to get into and see the results. And how the process works is we're going to test your putter. We've got it on Capto already. We're going to hit a few putts. We're going to go through this assessment, show people what it's all about. It spits out basically a putter that's going to be suggested for you. Piece it together. We're going to retest it and see how we go from there. But I guess before we get started, is there anything you want to tell me about your putting?
I've just always loved this style of putter. I've had it since I was 17, playing off +1, all the way through my professional career. I've always had this plumber's neck Scotty Cameron. I just like the look and feel of it, but again, I don't know if it's right. Yes, I've held good putts in crucial moments, but I've also missed a ton. So I just don't know if it's right for me. So I'm just really excited to see what it comes out with today. So
no worries.
Yeah.
And we kind of went through your putter before because we had to put it into our Capto system. We've got to put all our putters in there to make sure that the information that we get from the system is correct. 34 inches, 70-degree lie angle, 3 degrees of loft. So pretty standard with the setup in itself. Apart from you did cut it down an inch. Was it 30? Was it 35 previously?
It was 35. I cut it down, and I've played around with lead taping. Obviously, that reduced the swing weight. So I've played around with lead taping here and there. But yeah, when I cut it down back in the day, I didn't even know that affected the weight back in the day. So obviously that's something, guys.
100%, yeah. So one of the cool things, again, once we get to the end section, depending on the length of the putter that it's going to spit out, it chooses a head weight for us, and we can adjust head weight depending on whatever we need, and also the Hosel type as well. We'll go through that a little bit later. So really looking forward to this. We're going to show you kind of what we're doing with the app, and pretty much let's get into it, eh?
Great.
Sound good?
Yeah, I'm very excited.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I'm doing a screen recording on this as well, so I can kind of pop up some information or show you what we're going through in this. I've already kind of pre-filled some of Danny's data, but I'm just going to ask you a couple of questions as we're going along, and then we'll start with the assessment as well. So got your details in here. Current handicap?
It's scratch, supposedly.
Scratch, supposedly? I guess it's hard when we don't play too much, is it? So that's fine. Do you know your height?
5'9".
5'9". All the cool people are 5'9". That's exactly what I am too. So, cool. So I've got dexterity. I've got your current putter model. We know what the putter's about. All I need to do now is get your wrist to floor measurements on that little nodule just there. So 34 inches. And 34 and a half. So 34 and 34 and a half. I actually had a guy in the other day who was 1.5 inches different between each side. And he said, oh, I thought my right shoulder kind of hangs a little bit lower, and it 100% did. So I'll go in there at 34 inches. Perfect. And then we proceed to our setup analysis. So what we're going to do to start with is we're going to hit half a dozen putts. Yeah. We've got a little cool thing that we've done here because it's really important to understand what happens with face angle at address. Okay, so with Capto, we're able to utilize that. So there's a little setup that we need to go through, a little process prior to each putt. I'll show you what that is in a second. And that'll be able to tell us exactly what happens when we're setting up. Are we aiming straight, open, or closed? Okay. Once we've done that, like I said, a few other assessments, but we'll get into it here. Now, quick question. Would you have any idea how you aim? Do you think you aim straight, right or left?
I would have a guess that I aim right.
Right? Didn't sound too confident.
It's just a guess.
Just
I don't know.
Don't know? And what would you say your natural tendency is? Do you pull your putts? Do you push them? Tend to be fairly straight. Push?
Push, yeah.
Okay. And then do you tend to end up short of the hole or long of the hole most of the times?
Pace control is really good.
Pace control is good?
Yeah.
Very nice. I like that. You don't hear that too often.
Yeah.
Cool, you're ready to go. So you've got 20 seconds to hit your putt.
Brilliant. All right.
Don't feel like it's a race or anything, but... Nice. Very nice. Okay. So interestingly enough, with the information that you've kind of given me on those, your face angle was predominantly closed, ever so slightly. It's probably averaging fairly straight actually, because again, majority of them were, you can see 1.4 degrees closed, 0.8, 0.8. 0.6 degrees open was the last one. Okay. So whether or not you made a slight adjustment there, I'm not too sure, but we'll work out the average in a second, but we can kind of tell exactly how we're aiming. So interestingly enough, it is actually probably slightly different to what you perceive. Now we do have a line on the floor which does assist as well, so it could be exaggerated a little bit outside. So in here is a little bit easier, but it's good to know that even with a line, we do still aim one direction or the other. Okay, so we're going to do three things here. One I'm going to struggle with because I need my camera. So I might need to use something else.
Jeez, right?
Yeah. So I'm just going to get this golf ball set up correctly. It's a really cool golf ball, and with the cameras these days, without necessarily using technology, we're still able to see how the golf ball launches. So while I'm down here, we're going to do three little tests. Okay, one is distance from the golf ball, and two is the plane of that shaft. Okay, so you just take your setup and get nice and comfy for me. And you just tell me when you're ready.
Okay, ready?
Cool. So that's going to measure distance from the ball. So 10.5 inches there. And I'm going to measure your shaft plane. 69.5 degrees. 2 seconds. You can kind of reset it for a second if you like. Cool. So it's 10.5. 69 degrees. Okay. Now, let's get into this. Okay, you ready? All you're going to do is get comfy and hit a putt for me.
Okay.
Very nice. So when you come back and through, we're looking for that golf ball to start tilting end over end as soon as possible. It does have to launch in the air a little bit and then start rolling. What you'll notice is that line, that horizontal line, is basically tilting forward nicely straight away. Yeah. So what does it say on there? You're presenting a little bit too much lofted impact, so you're starting really nice, but you're presenting about 4.5 degrees of loft.
Yeah, I've definitely struggled with that. I feel like I add a bit of loft and get a bit flicky.
You do?
Yeah, so that'd be interesting to see.
Well, yeah, so plus 4.5 degrees of lofted impact on a 3 degrees putter and hitting up 3 degrees. It's actually not too bad. Like I said, it does get a little bit of skid on there, but that number, yeah, is a little bit of something that we've got to think about going forward, but that's really good to see. Okay, so let's put up there. So when I'm adding this detail in, I'm going to put forward from impact. Beautiful. Now, a couple little details I need to get from Capto, and I'm just going to do a calculation of what your averages are here. So you're going to notice that your face at start, at address, has an average of 0.4 degrees closed, which means not too bad. That's pretty solid. But you have a bit of a deviation of 0.7 degrees. So right, we can kind of go back into here. What I'm looking at here is basically your acceleration and speed. It's really important to understand what's happening with your speed on average. 0.8, 0.8, 0.6, 0.4. Your speed is very constant, which is great. It's what we're looking for in a putting stroke. We don't want the putter to be accelerating too much through impact, or generally we don't want it, and yours doesn't, so that's really, really nice. And then we're going to work out a nice little assessment here, which is face rotation. So our goal when we're putting is to have basically the least amount of face rotation as possible. They measure it in degrees per second, It does sound complex and hard, but what we're looking for is under 15 degrees per second is excellent. Anything over that makes it a little bit difficult to control putter face through impact. Yeah. So your putter face went from 2.9 to 0.9 degrees at impact, so that's a 2 degree change. And that 2 degree change gives you a 45 degrees per second result. So I said we're looking to try and get it under 15 degrees per second. Just a little bit high.
Some good timing.
You got good timing, yeah.
Don't rely on that.
And then the problem that you have sometimes with that is that, again, when you're under pressure or you have braking putts, that can become quite difficult when then all those little downhill sliders or something like that makes it pretty difficult to get that. Yeah. So your aim tendency was pretty square, which is great. Your miss tendency was great, so you're pretty straight with that, which was nice. Your stroke direction, it's another little number that we're going to get here. Track, look at that, 0.1. So basically that's your stroke direction there, technically, so pretty square, which is really nice. So I'll put that as square. Before we get on to a couple of other little assessments is, do you know your dominant eye?
Right.
Right? You tested it before?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Would you think it's a little bit right or heavy right, like it moves a lot?
It's a lot.
Moves a lot?
Right. Yeah, you can take me through it again though, if you like.
I can take you through it again, cool. Yeah. So what we always do is, I've got a nice poster up on the wall up on that corner there. And you see how the large putter head, what you're going to do is create a diamond with your hands like this. Beautiful. Arms outstretched as far as they can go. Try and get that putter head with both eyes open in the middle, and close your left eye for me. Does the putter head stay there?
Yeah.
Now keep both eyes open, close your right eye.
Yeah.
Does it move a little bit or a lot?
Loads.
Loads?
Loads. Yeah.
So we classify that as heavy right eye dominance.
I read it at night, I can't even see out my left eye, I think.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Do you know the funny thing? So since I've started doing this, because we tested it a little bit in the past, but I've noticed that there's probably 20 or 30% of people can't blink. Like one eye or the other.
Yeah, wow.
Which, so when I'm doing this test, it's almost renders it, like I've got to try and fire it a different way to test this. And they know that they can't do something with one eye, so they know that their left eye or right eye dominant, which is, it's a really cool test to do. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, the last little assessment before we take a couple of photos is called midpoint perception. Okay. It's a really, really cool one. So grab that for me. What we're going to do is we're going to jump back here, and there's a little fake golf hole down on the ground. You are going to set up to your golf ball here, try and get your putter face to aim straight at that hole. Okay? Now,
good luck.
From there, there's the secondary part to this assessment.
All right, so should I aim now?
Yeah,
okay.
And I said, your aiming's pretty good, we know that. So once you're comfortable, just let me know.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to imagine there's a laser between your ball or the putter face and that target. Tell me when this golf ball crosses it, okay? Tell me if it needs to go further away or closer to me.
Further away. Closer to you. Closer to you. Oh, this is strange. This is really strange. Whoa.
We know it's
I
dead
would
flat.
say touch more to you.
So if you put that ball now, it's going to hit that ball.
I think so, yeah.
Where's the confidence? Okay, we're going to jump back where the cameraman is, and we're going to have a look.
That's really weird when you're looking.
So if I grab that to me, it's pretty damn solid. Oof. Yeah, we'll get the cameraman to go and have a check out of that, because that is very good. So a lot of times when people are doing this midpoint perception test, you're a fairly straight aimer, which is great. 0.4 degrees, it's awesome. A lot of people aim, say, 3 degrees right, and their midpoint perception might be 2 degrees left. Yeah. And that's why they pull across their putts, or they close their face rapidly, and they have these tendencies that this fitting kit with the different hosels and the different head types and everything else and colours can make that adjusted, and we can kind of get them to set up a little bit straighter. You already do that, which is really good. So it's kind of telling us that we're in the ballpark of what is good for us anyway.
Yeah, okay.
Which is nice.
Interesting, yeah.
So now,
all those years of practice paying off.
100%, yes. So now we've got some happy snaps. So what we're going to do, first one is you setting up this way. Second one is you setting up this way. Once I've taken the first photo, you can just stand up and relax for a second. I just need to add a few data points, and then we'll take the next photo in a sec. Okay, you just tell me whenever you feel like you're comfy.
Yeah.
Cool. You can stand up and relax for a second. So I'm just putting you into slight classifications here. We've got basically hand position under the shoulders. We've got shaft to plane, shaft to forearm. We've got eye line. Eye line slightly inside the golf ball. Posture fairly upright. Now we do our face on. I'm not judging you, by the way. Okay, tell me when you're comfy.
Okay, not bad there.
So now we're looking at ball position. So your ball position would be slightly forward.
Yeah.
And we know from Capto that your loft at address on average is 3.1 degrees. That's a 3-degree putter.
Yeah.
So it's basically neutral, which is great. You're going to love this. It has spat out literally the putter that you've got in your hands. 34 degrees, 69-degree lie angle. So it's an SB2 nickel with a black line.
Wow.
A half offset plumbers. You've got a full offset plumbers on yours. So a full offset L neck.
Yeah, yeah.
They do half offset ones as well. 34 inches. It's saying 1.5 degrees aloft. One of the reasons for that is because you present so much lofted impact. So loft for you is going to be really important. It comes up with the diamond mill. It's got two faces with the fine-tune kit. The diamond mill pattern basically has a little bit more ball speed off the face, and the variable mill just a little bit different feel. So we can get to that at the end, and 330 gram head weight. So we're going to put it together anyway, especially the loft. That'll be really, really important, because one of the things we haven't kind of talked about here that is really special with this system is the loft is built into the face. So if you come over here for a second, you'll see, because we're going to probably just use a 2-degree face today because I don't have a 1.5 degree, that is a 2-degree face. So this one here is a 0.5 degree face. So what happens is when they build them is they actually screw them on. And what happens is when you sit down and put your putter, let's say we might need to go to 0.5 degree because you do add so much loft. If we have to bend your putter, it changes how it sits. So the shaft is going to be leaning in one direction or the other, and then the sole of the putter is going to be sitting up or down. So that's why these putters kind of come into their own. So whatever you do when you're sitting that down on the ground, it's always going to stay the same no matter what loft we need to change it to, which is pretty cool.
That's great. I've always thought that with the loft, and then I thought, well, do I change my technique, get the ball back, hands forward, all that? But that just doesn't feel right. It would take a lot of practice. So this just,
kind of takes it out of the equation. And it's the first one we've seen that, or I've seen that does this. And let's say in the future you do change your setup. You want to, you like the head, but you've maybe maneuvered something and the loft isn't suitable for you anymore, it can be changed, which is always a nice little bonus as well. So let's put it together. So SB2 nickel, black lines. So we've got some weights here. You'll notice we've got our little weight kit. We'll grab out our W5. One of the things with this is that depending on which hosel is put into the head, the weight has to be adjusted, either more weight, toe or heel, to get the sweet spot correct. So that's really, really important, and that pretty much tells us exactly what we need to do anyway, which is nice. Half offset plumbers, where are we? There we are, 34 inches. Beautiful. And then, do you know what? Just for, I'm going to go to 0.5 degree aloft versus the 2 degrees. Give that a crack and we're going to see what it's like.
That's really interesting when he asked me earlier, I don't know if it was on camera or off camera, about the neck style. I said I've always just liked plumber's neck. And even last week when we was talking about this, I don't know why, but that's obviously spinning out.
That's fairly suited to me. And as you can see from the assessments, everything that you're doing is good. Like there's nothing that really stands out kind of one direction apart from face rotation. So you get a little excessive with face rotation, but you're able to get that putter face back to square literally pretty much every time, which is really nice. Guys from Fine Tune are going to be watching me here because I threaded one the other day. They won't be happy with that. Cool, so I've chucked that in there. Put the wrong
job at editing.
Yes. The pressure of being on camera. Okay, so what I need to do is grab this one. This is the SB face. I think it was just because I was showing you that face before. So the blade style faces are longer in design, and the mallet style faces are slightly shorter.
This is crazy how you can put the different lofts on just straight up and just, wow, yes, it's pretty cool.
It's really cool, eh? Yeah. Cool. Then we've got the weight in the top there. Smash that in. A couple little screws. Now, I'm just waiting on my lie machine. Guys from Fine Tune are sending me, they've created their own lie and loft machine, which is really cool. I was over there a couple of weeks ago in New Zealand, just checking out their facility, which is phenomenal. And they just showed me just from a bending perspective. So when I get that, it's saying 69 degrees, so it's not a drastic change, only 1 degree. Let's say it was 66 degrees, I could just chuck it in there, bend it, put it back in, and we can test it out. Oh. So while we're doing the fitting, you can actually play with the lie angle, or test the lie angle that's actually going to be suitable for you. So what I need to do now is I need to grab Capto off of your, click that button before you get ready to go. Once we've done these half a dozen putts, I'm going to give you a putter comparison report. So whenever you're ready, get that putter up at parallel, and you're good to go. Cool. There you go. It's all right, I should have put that ready for you.
Thank you. Wow, the loft looks so much different.
Does it?
Yeah.
In a good way or a bad way?
Good way, because I can often, I just feel like I'm just going to launch it. Wow, that's, it's nice not to see so much of the face without having to do that. Okay. Yeah.
Do you use yours out of bunkers? Very nice. How's it feel?
You're good.
Does it feel heavier than yours, lighter than yours?
Heavier.
Heavier?
See, that's because I've not got the lead tape on at the moment. But
so yeah, it's 330 grams in the head. And again, we can adjust that. We can go heavier, test lighter as well, so you can kind of see exactly what kind of weight's going to be suitable for you.
The flow of it feels really good. So that's, again, yeah, it'll be interesting to see the rotation numbers, but yeah. I really like these smaller grips too.
This is fairly small. It's probably just slightly thicker than that though, isn't it? Or is it?
It is thicker than this, yeah.
All right.
But I prefer these smaller ones.
Very nice, cool. So one of the cool things being is when we look up on this little chart up here, as I was saying at the start, the head type and the Hosel type can influence aim and also what's happening at impact as well. So the larger the head style and the lighter the colour, the more closed bias the head's going to be at address. So if you're a player that sets up really open, that could potentially be a beneficial thing for you. Hosel aim influence as well, so you go from your double bend is the most closed biased at address, to a centre shaft, which is your most open biased. And then
as always, pull me back to a bit to half plumbers. Yes, yeah, okay, makes sense.
And then we go Hosel impact influence, so basically what happens through impact. So double bend is the most closed, half flow, so you got kind of your curved ones at the bottom, is the most open. You're here at half plumbers, and half plumbers just there. So your full plumbers is one of the more closed bias ones. And what we're going to notice from this data, it's changed it.
Oh, wow.
Which is pretty cool. Okay. If we calculate this, your face average at start, 0.1 degrees. So I went from 0.4 degrees closed to 0.1 degrees with a standard deviation of 0.1 degrees. So basically it was just almost perfect, which is...
Almost.
Almost. So we need to work a bit harder. Your loft start was 0.3 degrees, but that you'll see here at impact, it's much better. We're not getting those 3s and 4, sorry, those 4s and 4.5 degree loft through impact, which is a big change, which is great. You're still hitting up on it. We already know that. Your face at address is pretty good. You do present your face slightly open at impact.
Yeah.
Now, loft at impact. So what we're going to do is we've got a little putter comparison report. So we've got those 5 putts versus your first 5 putts. And we're basing it on a few different parameters just here. We're not going to worry about lie angle too much because again, we already know that the lie angle is fairly good and fairly similar to what it should be. We pop this up here. And what we're going to notice with 5 putts, it basically gives us a score of 88% per each one. Oh. So it bases it on a bunch of different parameters, all of them of which are down here. Kind of gives us all the information that we need in relation to how our face on average is addressed. Because we only chose 5 putts, it's given you a negative 0.6 because there was, I think the 6th putt you opened your face a little bit, and that's why it kind of skewed it back to negative 0.4. But on average, you can see this one here, your face at address is only 0.1, which is really, really good. Your path, pretty similar, cut across it a little bit more with that putter. You can see your loft at impact, 1.3 degrees, sorry, so I must have had the wrong number on that other one, that's why I was a little bit taken back by 0.3 degrees. So at impact it was 1.3 on average versus yours being 4.7 degrees, so that's getting a lot of loft through impact. So whilst I tried 0.5 degrees, probably a 2 degree lofted putter, 1.5 to 2 degree lofted putter is probably going to be more so what we're looking for, which is good. But as you can see there, pretty solid either way, which is really, really nice. A couple other cool little data points down the bottom here. And this tells me that you're a good putter. So when we look at these numbers just down the bottom here, what it measures is, a really cool measurement is how much the putter twists like this, backstroke and follow through. One measurement is in degrees per second and the other is how fast it is in acceleration. It can be a little confusing when you look at the graph, it looks all funny. The higher the percentage rate, it gets up to 100%. Again, the worse it is. You're under 10% and 0 on some of them as well, which is phenomenal. So that basically means there's just not a lot going on in that putter, which is great. So I love it. Does some really good things. So what we do now...
so you're saying I should go back on tour?
100%. I just put a call in then. We're going to go live or we're going to go PGA?
I'll stick to coaching. Too hard.
So we know the half a degree is wrong, but I'm going to put it in here anyway because I need to update the data. And then from here, we just need to do what's called a dynamic assessment. So we're just going through a couple of the little data points again. I just need to add this in here and then it updates us. It might change it slightly, or it might just say, we're pretty solid. We're on the right track for a putter. So we know our aim tendency, just 0, absolutely perfect. I'm gonna check your tempo. So we got some nice constant speed, absolutely love that. Your stroke direction on average, 0.6 degrees to the left. Pretty square. Rate of rotation, this is the tester. We're going to see what we're doing.
Just the weight of it feels good. It feels less going on, but I've always been a bit of a, when I was taught when I was younger, I was always taught the opening and closing of the door. And so I've always got quite a bit of that in there. So, but it just feels good. The balance feels good.
On that last part, it's 2.1 degrees. So it's exactly the same. Basically, So about 45 degrees per second, just under. So not too dissimilar. You're getting that golf ball starting on the right position. We are doing pretty well. So we just need to measure shaft plane distance from the golf ball, which should be the same because again we've got the same length putter. And then we're going to measure launch again with your camera, if that's okay. Cool.
Just with that rate of rotation there, is it worth trying a single bend or a different hosel style to help with that?
Yeah, I mean again. 100%. So what we'll do in here is we'll add all the details in, we'll see what it spits out. It may change it because again, most of your data is phenomenal, which is really, really good. The rate of rotation is a little high, so we know that. So it's going to go through its algorithm and figure out if there's something there that they can tweak that may assist in that. We could, of course, just put something in there, But what we're doing then is we're potentially messing with how you set up. So your alignment, if we put a double bend shaft in, for instance sakes, you might set up a degree closed, just for example, and then you might present it at a degree closed, so all we're going to hit them is left. So while we might, change some of those parameters, it's going to affect that. And then one of the interesting things about toe hang too, because that putter's got toe hang. Cool. So question for you. Does toe hang close the face more or keep it more open or make it harder to close?
Keeps it more open.
Yeah, 100%. So a lot of times when people talk about toe hang, they feel like it should close the face more, but it actually is harder to rotate. So for you in particular, who rotates it a lot, we need something with a fair bit of toe hang that's actually going to keep that face open more often. But you get to those bend shafts, it's just going to want to shut. Make sense?
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Sweet. So, let's get in here. Trusty golf ball. Oh, I did that pretty good. Okay, we'll do distance from the golf ball first, and then shaft plane. Just tell me when you're comfy.
Yep.
About there. 10.5, well done.
Consistent?
It's consistent. Whoops. 69.5 degrees. There you go.
Wow.
Very consistent. Mate, you're like a machine.
Well, I did practice for hours and hours and hours when I was younger, so.
Or yesterday, just so when you're coming in here. It's like a 40-minute slow-mo video. It turns over pretty good there. Don't mind that. Yeah. So you can see, because we're getting that 1.4 to almost 2 degrees of loft through impact. So it's not a bad loft that we're getting, but a little bit more loft on that would definitely be beneficial.
We're good off real slick greens, but
yeah.
Yeah. So what's that in there? 0.5?
0.5, yeah.
Yeah.
So you were 10.5, 69.5 degree lie angle. Launch was forward. And we're going to do, oops, let's add a grip in. Okay, a couple of photos again. Perfect, thank you, sir. Just tell me when you're comfy.
Yep.
Good. Stand up and relax for a sec. And with the distance from the golf ball and everything else, nothing's really changed. It should be pretty similar. Matching eye line. Still slightly inside the golf ball, which is fine. There's no problem with that. Okay, and we'll do face on.
Okay.
Comfy, good. Done. So we. Oh, you can stand up now and chill out. Unless you're just posing, I'm not sure. Awesome. So basically it's popped out. SB2 nickel black line, half offset plumbers, as you'll see here, 34 inches, lie angle's the same. It's given you now 1.5 degrees of loft, which again is exactly what we're kind of talking about, that 1.5 to 2 degrees of loft, and the same head weight as well.
Great.
So that makeup of a putter is going to be very much suitable for your style, which is absolutely great. So process of going on from here with a fine-tuned putter, we would then have a check out of a couple of different grips because a grip is important. So to find what people are comfortable with when it comes to a grip from there. But you like them anyway. So
I love the smaller ones. Yeah, I just love the feel through the fingers and yeah.
With the fine-tuned putters, you can select a black shaft or a chrome shaft or a black hosel or a chrome hosel, and there's also customization as well. So customization with the fine-tuned putters is really cool. So you can get any different type of color on here. You can put logos, you could put your name, you could chuck my name on there if you wanted that. That'd be pretty cool.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, so a lot of people get like it all blinged up so they know it's theirs and then keep it for a long time. Product itself, so again, we've got the diamond milled face. We can test that between the variable milled if we're going down that path, so you can kind of see if you like the feel of the variable milled versus the diamond milled. And then we put the order through. So one of the things that we didn't talk about, I might just jump back over here for a sec. That aircon's kind of in my bag, the one that you wanted to turn off. I did put a post out that I went to New Zealand a couple of weeks ago and just to check out their factory. They produce everything there. So they mill their own putters. So I didn't even realise that. I saw these blocks of aluminium, blocks of steel there, and I'm like, oh, what's that? And they've got full milling machines. They've got a few different factories located around New Zealand. So everything is produced there. The quality control is next level. When I was watching them produce their putters, their attention was just phenomenal. So if you're wanting a putter that you know is exactly to your specifications, like 100%, then the fine-tuned putters are just absolutely phenomenal when it comes to that kind of thing. What we do from there, send it off, be in your bag in a couple of weeks. But any questions with the fitting, mate? Is that what you expected? Is it different? Is it?
No, that was great. I had an idea about the Loft. I certainly feel that I had Loft, and I haven't played competitive for years, so I've not worked at my putting. But if I would be looking at, okay, well, do I need to bend the putter? Do I need to put my hands forward? But that's just confirmed what I thought. And interesting, I've always liked the look of these styles of putter, hence I've had it since I was 17. Whenever I've gone and tried a mallet or something like that, I've very quickly gone back to this. So it's obviously spitting out some great information. Because,
Sure.
Yeah, it's cool. No questions really.
And I think that's one of the things is that it just quantifies that from a data and the information on this, where you can go back and trust what you've got, whether or not you're replacing it or not. Let's say you've got the perfect putter just there. We might need to bend it or whatnot, but you know that that's it. So it's just not that second guessing in your mind when you're out there. Or if we go with one of these putters, we know that it's suitable and it's 100% to our specs, which is really nice.
Even length, like obviously you've measured me up there, and it spelled out 34 straight away, and I've cut that down myself years ago, just without knowing, just because it just felt better. But again, for those that don't know, amateurs out there, that's what you want, isn't it?
100%, because people go to the any store and they'll just grab a couple of putters, hit a few putts. 35 inches is pretty much the standard, and that's just so it can fit in your bag pretty much. But again, they might get it and they might like it, they might grip down, they're just unsure. So there's no, apart from what we found here, I haven't seen any kind of other procedures and processes that go this in depth to kind of find out what's going to be the best putter for you. And I think it's great. I think they've kind of hit the nail on the head there, and they're such a good team. And like I said, it's just ever evolving. They've got some cool things in the works as well, which I'm looking forward to seeing what they're producing in the future, and just onwards and upwards from here. But yeah, glad you enjoyed it, mate. And all the best.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah,
thanks, mate.
Appreciate it.